Hello, good morning to all. Myself, Vinaranjan Patnaik. I am going to discuss about the subject cryptography and network security and chapter 1 possible attacks and computers. This chapter having following articles: the need for security, security approach, principles of security and types of attacks. First come to the need for security. Why the security is required? Because there are a number of threats, and threats may be an object, may be a person or other entity that represents a constant danger to an asset. Cryptography can reformat and transform your data, making it safer and strip between computers. The technology is based on the essentials of secret code, augmented by modern mathematics that protects our data in powerful ways. So, due to number of threads in giving the path of journey of a data from a source to destination, so security is required. That thread may be an object, may be a person or other type of entity. So, cryptography is a mathematical model, or cryptography is a mathematical algorithm will provide us security during this transmission of the data from source to destination. So, what are the approaches of security? Now, to access the security needs of an organization effectively, the manager responsible security needs some systematic way of defining the requirements for security and characterization of approaches to satisfy those requirements. The approaches are security attack, mechanism, and the service. So, what are the basic concepts behind this cryptography? Next, first come to the, or you can say the basic terminology or basic terms present in this cryptography. First come to the cryptography. The art of science encompassing the principles and methods of transforming an intelligible message into one that is unintelligible. That means this is a method through which you can transfer a message in intelligible way or intelligentical, or you are using some intelligentical method during the transmission of the original data. Let's come to the plain text. What is plain text? Now, original intelligible message. That means the original message is known as the plain text. What do mean the ciphertext? And the transfer message is known as the ciphertext. Ciphertext means that what? As is the transfer of message, or ciphertext means it is a cryptographical message. What do you mean the cipher? An algorithm for transforming an intelligible message into one that is unintelligible by transposition or other substitution methods. That is cipher. Cipher means what? It is a algorithm, or it is a mathematical you can say algorithm method through which we can transfer the plain text in the form of the coded text from source to destination. What do you mean the key? Some critical information used by the cipher known only to the sender and receiver, that is known as the key. What is the encode? Now, the process of converting plain text to ciphertext using a cipher and a key. Next is your decode. Encoding means it is the conversion of the plain text to ciphertext. Decipher, decode means it is the converting from method of converting from ciphertext back to the plain text. What do you mean the cryptanalysis? The study of principles and methods of transforming an unintelligible message back into an intelligible message without knowledge of the key, also called code breaking. So, cryptanalysis means suppose there is some problem in the key. Suppose both the sender receiver is totally forgetting about the key, then this cryptanalysis try to break the code without the knowledge of the key. That is known as the cryptanalysis. What do you mean the cryptology? Both cryptography and cryptanalysis It is the combination of the cryptography and cryptanalysis known as the cryptology. What do you mean the code? An algorithm for transforming an intelligible message into an unintelligible one using a code book. So this is known as the code. Then let's come to the principles of security. What are the principles? Behind the principles, there is a CIA model. Under the CIA, C stands for confidentiality, I stands for integrity, A stands for availability. So this is known as the CIA model. In confidentiality, information kept private and secure. Integrity, data not modified, deleted or added. Availability, system available to whom requires them. So first come to the confidentiality. The principle of confidentiality specifies that only the sender and the receiver should be able to access the contents of a message. Or you can say confidentiality get compromised if an unauthorized person is able to access a message. Okay. So that means confidence means the secret of the message must be kept between the sender and receiver. If other party, or you can say without except the sender and receiver, if other person is able to know that about that code or about that message, then that confidentiality is losing. Next is your authentication. Or you can say intercession causes loss of message confidentiality. Next comes the your integration. What do you mean the integration? Now when the contents of message are changed after the sender sends it, but before it reaches the receiver, then we say that integrity of the message is lost. Suppose sender sends the correct message or correct plain text, but when receiver receiving that, it is found that the structure is changed. The structure is somehow modified. Then we can say integrity of the data is lost. Next is your availability. Availability means authentication, you can say. So it is a mechanism help establish a proof of identities. That means this process tends to that the authentication tends to that it ensures that the origin of electronic message or document is correctly identified. That means both the sender and the receiver must be an authenticated people. Right? So this is the principle of security. Next is your authentication. Authentication methods are follows. First one is your password based authentication, where it requires user to know something like user ID or password. Device-based authentication, it requires the user to pass some items such as key, map strip, card, etc. Biometric authentication, it is about something user. It identifies some physical characteristics of user that cannot be separated from their body like voice, fingerprint, retina, etc. So authentication following three mechanisms. One is your password based authentication, where it requires users to know something like user ID, password, etc. Device based authentication, it requires the user to pass some item such as key, map strip, card, etc. Biometric. Biometric means it is the characteristics of the human being, like the voice, like retina of the eyes, fingerprint, etc. So this is about the first this class. Then next we will discuss for the next. Thank you to all.